this kind of saddened me because it showed me the state of what the United States of America and even the world, the state of what human beings are like. New York City, infant found abandoned in a tote bag outside of a New York City building. Check it out.
Police need your help finding the person who abandoned a baby. This happened in the Bronx.
That infant baby girl was found wrapped in blankets inside of a tote bag, which was left outside of an apartment building. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She joins us from the Longwood section of the Bronx with more. And Briella, do we know how the baby girl is doing this morning?
She is okay. She is recovering at a local hospital, Tashani and Dan, but that doesn't make the situation any less heartbreaking. Police now hoping that 24-hour surveillance video on this apartment building behind me will lead them to an arrest. Those cameras, that video rather, shows the moment that a baby girl was abandoned here in the Bronx. Take a close look at your screens. It happened over the weekend. Police now searching for this person who was last seen wearing a black hooded jacket, light pants, and white sneakers. According to the NYPD, 41st Precinct officers responded to a 911 call for a crying baby just after 6 o'clock yesterday morning on Reverend James A. Polite Avenue here in the Longwood section. The newborn was allegedly wrapped in blankets inside of that discarded bag. Cops rushed her to Jacoby Medical Center in stable condition, where she remains in the care of hospital staff. Neighbors, though, this morning are in complete disbelief. The man who lives in the apartment feet away from where the baby was found says he was at the mosque early in the morning when his neighbor called to alert him about the shocking discovery.
He said, I was passing, I heard a baby crying at your door. I told him, well, call 911. And then 10 minutes after I came, I saw the baby. He was wrapped in blankets, put in a shopping bag. And then I called 911. It was cold. I took the baby inside.
I can't get it through my head how somebody gonna do that.
Hearing that this is even a thing is very disturbing for this neighborhood.
When you guys decide that y'all want to have kids, okay? Because a lot of times people just make the decision to have a child without even thinking twice about it. This is a lifetime decision. The person that you decide to have children with, you will be tied to them for the rest of your life. Please do not make your children pay for the decisions that you make badly. This is not a decision to be taken lightly. I know a lot of y'all just want to have another baby mama, or you just want somebody that look like you. And why do it seem like when it get cold outside, people do some of the most egregious things when it comes to children? I don't know what that is. Anyways, a couple of passings over the weekend. The first passing was former President Jimmy Carter. One-term president passed over this past weekend.
This is an ABC News special report. The death of President Jimmy Carter.
I'm Mary Bruce at ABC News headquarters in New York. We are coming on the air at this hour because we have just learned that former President Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States, has died. He was 100 years old. His passing comes just over a year after the death of former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, his beloved wife of 77 years and childhood sweetheart, the couple inseparable in life and even in death. Jimmy Carter attending his wife's memorial service, determined to be there, to be with her, despite being in hospice care since February of last year. The service for Mrs. Carter also attended by President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden, along with the former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and former First Ladies Michelle Obama, Laura Bush, and Melania Trump. The former president had several health setbacks in recent years. The Carter Center announced after a series of short hospital stays, he had decided to end further medical treatments. He chose to receive hospice care at his home for the remainder of his life. Rosalynn Carter also entered hospice care in the final days of her life after being diagnosed with dementia. A lifetime together, the couple celebrated their 77th wedding anniversary in July of 2023. A one-term president, Jimmy Carter faced domestic setbacks, a challenging economy, and the Iranian hostage crisis during his 4 years in office. The former president and first lady, though, may be best known for what they accomplished after their time in the White House. Jimmy Carter transforming the traditional role of ex-presidents by remaining a public figure and traveling the globe as a fierce defender of human rights through the establishment of the Carter Center. Like her husband, Mrs. Carter was devoted to public service. She was also a staunch mental health advocate and humanitarian. A lifetime together, they were partners in every sense of the word.
Yeah,
And for
that's a good life. That's a full life. Isn't it crazy how it's rare for people to actually live a full good life? Like you might even get one or the other, but a lot of times you don't usually get both. You don't usually get people that live to be 100 years old, especially today. You have a less of a chance. You have a greater chance dying before your 21st birthday, especially if you're born in certain areas, than you do of living 100 years old and good and being able to pass away. That's a relatively good life. Like that's not nothing to mourn. That's not nothing to get sad about. That's not any of that. That's honestly, that's a celebration. We spend more time focusing on how you gonna die. I remember they had a series called something 100 Ways to Die, something like that. We spend more time focused on how you gonna pass away than we do on celebrating and enjoying life. If you can get past at this point, if you can get past 75 without having cancer or having a limb cut off or getting into an accident where they maim you, you ain't had no Parkinson's or nothing like that, man. You winning. Bruce Willis out here shaking. All of these actors is going broke and they got to go back to work. People complaining about having to return to work and all of this stuff, man. Listen, it's tough out here. Also, Greg Gumbel passed away, and he was 78. I think that that's a pretty full life.
Some sad news to report. Legendary broadcaster Greg Gumbel, a widely respected and groundbreaking voice for the past 3 decades on CBS Sports, has died after a battle with cancer. Gumbel is most well known for covering the NFL and college basketball. Along with Phil Simms, he formed CBS's lead NFL announcing team for 6 seasons and called 2 Super Bowls. In 2001, he became the first African American to do play-by-play for a major sports championship in the United States when he called Super Bowl 35 for CBS. For more than 25 years, he was a staple for college basketball on CBS as a studio host, most notably from Selection Sunday all the way through the Final Four. His historic career of over 50 years brought him to other audiences. He worked both Summer and Winter Olympics, the World Figure Skating Championships, and he once had play-by-play duties in New York for the Knicks and also the Yankees. The family put out a statement on Friday, which reads in part, "It is with profound sadness that we share the passing of our beloved husband and father, Greg Gumbel. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by much love after a courageous battle with cancer. Greg approached his illness like one would expect he would, with stoicism, grace, and positivity." David Burson, president and CEO of CBS Sports, also put out a statement. The CBS Sports family is devastated by the passing of Greg Gumbel. There has never been a finer gentleman in all of television. He was beloved and respected by those of us who had the honor to call him a friend and colleague. It is an extremely sad day for all of us at CBS Sports and the entire sports community. We will miss Greg dearly and send our deepest condolences to his wife Marcy, daughter Michelle, and his entire family.
Is 78 years old? Is that a life well lived? I know succumbing to cancer is not necessarily an ideal thing. That's almost become normalized. And then people are actually voting against. They was trying to say that they didn't want RFK Jr. to pay attention to what was going on in our FDA. When you go outside of the country, I think that this was probably more prevalent inside of Japan than anywhere else. And Japan, ironically, is the place where people live the longest. They have the longest lifespan, and usually, even when they pass away, they in relatively good health. They do really well. They have like completely different food appetite, palate, work ethic. They don't believe in retire. They believe in being active and making money and being a contributor into their society and their communities their entire life. It's funny how different it is here than it is everywhere else. In Japan, where they live the longest and they're the healthiest, they got a different food palette and they don't believe in retiring. We are trying to figure out how we can work 10 years of our life. So from 20 to 30, we want to get a job and figure out how we can retire early. In other cultures, it's completely different. Ain't that tripped out? And then when I say that I don't ever plan on retiring, I plan on being productive my entire life for however long that is, people say that I'm crazy and they look at me funny. They look at me completely funny. Is 78 a full life to y'all?